Chair, and I thank the senator from Tennessee, and I want to commend the senator from Tennessee who has worked tirelessly for months on this legislation, but in particular has worked tirelessly on this particular amendment. And I want to rise and try and make my point as strongly as I can. This body, I know, always wants to do the right thing. We want to address the concerns that made the market collapse 2 years ago or begin to collapse 2 years ago. We want to restore confidence in real estate finance. We want to bring back the vibrant housing industry. We don't want to reincarnate subprime loans. And we ought to do one simple thing today. We ought to learn from history. And I want to give everybody a small history lesson. The underlying bill answers the question of better underwriting by putting risk retention as a requirement on a newly originated mortgage. Risk retention of 5%. Mr. President, the Tier 1 minimum capital requirement of a nationally chartered bank is 8%. You're going to tell me the banks of America are going to reserve another 5% against the mortgages they originate? No, they're just not going to originate mortgages whatsoever. Secondly, risk retention is no insurance for a better mortgage having been made. The fact of the matter is, in the late 1980s, the American savings and loan industry, which was chartered for the purpose of financing American homes, they went under and they had 100% risk retention. What causes bad lending is bad underwriting. Risk retention has nothing to do with it if you have bad underwriting, or as we had in the late 2007, 8, and 9, no underwriting at all. So first of all, Senator Corker's amendment is an outstanding amendment that strikes at the heart of the problem that got us here, while at the same time affording the opportunity for the American finance industry to bring back competitive mortgage lending. Well, if it's not FHA and it's not VA and it's not a Freddie Mac or Fannie Mae loan right now, you ain't getting one. We don't have people in the market anymore because they're scared. There's no standard. And this brings us back to a standard of underwriting that's right. It recognizes that if somebody has a job, the ability to pay reasonable credit, and has some skin in the game, that they'll pay that loan back. You know, historically, Mr. President, the default rate on the mortgage industry in the United States of America outside the last 3 years was around 1.2 to 1.4%. Very little. In fact, probably the highest, best risk investment an investor could make. But of course, what happened is when the underwriting failed, when we got into the exotic instruments, when Congress told Freddie and Fannie to make affordable loans and they ended up creating a market by buying subprime loans, the genie got out of the bottle and everything failed. So I want to say to the body that if we let this bill pass with risk retention in it, thinking we've done something, the only thing we will have accomplished is a total absence of mortgage money for the American home buyer and the American real estate industry. And that's a sad mistake. You know, facts are stubborn things. If a guy has a job, good credit, and puts a down payment, he'll repay his loan. If he doesn't, he might not. Let's go back to the roots that got us where we were where we are as a great country. Let's restore home ownership and the ability to finance it. But let's recognize the weakness was in underwriting. It was not in the retained risk of the originator. And I commend Senator Corker, Senator Shelby, Senator Gregg, Senator Lemieux, and the others that have worked on this issue. This amendment fails, and this entire piece of legislation fails in meeting the standard it set upon itself. That would be a tragedy, and that would be a mistake for the United States of America. And I yield to the distinguished senator from New Hampshire.
Sure. The senator from New Hampshire.
I would reserve my